What is up, guys? You're listening to SportsBiz with Rashad. Let's get started with today's episode. What's up, guys? You know what time it is. We're back with another episode today and another special guest. First, I just want to say thanks for everyone who tuned into my first solo episode last week. I think it went well, and if you haven't seen the IG video, definitely check that out. Today joining me is Lindsey. She is a NFL blogger and analyst. You may have seen her on Instagram or Twitter, but if not, please do check her out. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the challenges of working in sports, particularly with social media and then obviously being a woman at the same time. So with that being said, welcome to the show, Lindsey. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Let's start off. Why don't you tell me a little bit about who you are?
So I am an NFL blogger, personality, I don't know, whatever you want to call me at this point.
All of that, yeah.
Yeah, I do a lot of I'm more like media, digital media, social media, that kind of thing.
Right. And only NFL, or do you touch on any other sports or anything else?
Nope, it's just NFL. I had thought about doing college, but I just, as anyone in the NFL will tell you, it's nonstop. Like you have to be on it all the time. And I just honestly, Saturday is my day when I go to the grocery store and just do like normal people stuff. So I just don't have time to do anything else.
For sure. Even though it's only one main day of games, especially this year, there's actually games on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. So it's kind of nonstop. And then all these injuries going on throughout the week. So definitely a lot going on. Now, how did your journey in the sports world start?
I basically I started tweeting about football. And then I had just started to connect with people from there. But when I got my huge start, I interned for Ed Reed, the Baltimore Ravens safety, and that kind of uh, really just started everything. I started networking a lot, being around the players and the team and all of the media people. I just, that's kind of where I started and really got going. I did a podcast for a while, like a Raven centered podcast, and kind of got some contacts from there. Um, and then I covered the Ravens for USA Today for the Ravens Wire. I did that for a while. And then I kind of decided that I wanted to branch out on my own. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
Yeah. Now, is there a reason you chose the Ravens?
So I'm originally from Maryland.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just, that's the first team that I kind of started watching socially. Obviously they started in 1996. I was still like a very young child and was not interested in football at that time.
Yeah.
But I mean, my friends and I would all get together on Sundays and watch the games together and that kind of thing. And that's kind of where my interest peaked there. And then just being from the area and seeing the excitement when they got in the postseason and everything like that. So, and then obviously getting an opportunity with Ed and getting to be around that team was kind of where that kind of thing began for me.
Yeah, and that internship with Ed Reed, did he have his own company, or what was kind of the details of that?
So I mostly did a lot of stuff for his foundation. He did a lot of different events. Like I helped organize those. They did like flag football tournaments for charity. I worked with everything from the actual event to getting the sponsorships and like marketing that and everything. So I kind of did a lot. And then I also did some just basic like assistant stuff for him as well.
Okay, so you kind of got a exposure to a whole bunch of different things.
Yes. And that's kind of where not to like toot my own horn or anything right now, but I kind of feel like I have a unique perspective on sports because of that experience. I got to see it as a fan. I got to see it as somebody that was behind the scenes and kind of got to see things off the field. And then
Right.
I kind of later got to see it from like a media perspective.
Okay, makes sense. So going into kind of your role now, you mentioned how you're kind of an analyst, blogger, whatever you want to call it. Um, I noticed that you're a huge Joe Flacco fan. Is there a reason for that, or is it just because he was kind of the quarterback when you started getting into football?
Yeah, it's that, and I don't know. He's just been my favorite. He's like a super cool guy. He kind of doesn't get a lot of respect, even now, and like around Baltimore, he doesn't. But I always like the guys who they don't rely on theatrics or anything to get them noticed. They just kind of are who they are.
For sure, and I'm a Russell Wilson fan, so I think he's a pretty classy guy as well.
For sure. I like him a lot too.
Yeah, so also I noticed on your Twitter that you get a lot of hate. So I was wondering kind of what are the biggest obstacles and challenges you face being kind of center of attention with social media and, random people tweeting back at you and on your Instagram and such.
So obviously, like going into this, like you have to realize that not everybody's going to like what you say all the time. And it takes a lot to realize that because if you're in social media, if you're in a job like this, like you make your money off of being liked. So it's hard to see people sometimes just flat out say they don't like you. But it's going to happen. And I mean, it took like I've wanted to quit numerous times because people have said some horrible things to me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like on it's easier on some days to deal with it than others. Like some days I'll be fine and just be able to block it all out and just block the people and I'm done with it. I don't think about it. But if I'm like having a bad day or I'm not feeling great or if like something happened that day, then like obviously it will get to me more than others. And with this whole 2020 thing happening, like that's been the case more often than not. But I don't know. I've just been better about, you know, telling myself that they don't in the long run they don't matter. They're never going to say this stuff to my face. Um, it's just something you have to realize. And I mean, people will tell me, like, I have like friends who will be like, don't get upset about this. We don't do that anymore. We don't do it. So, that's all it really takes for me to kind of just be done with it.
Right, and I think that's really important trying to ignore what people say because on social media they can say anything. You have a screen in front of you, you can type whatever you want, and you don't face any consequences. But like you said, they're not going to say it to your face because then you got to face the consequences or and see people's reactions and embarrassment and stuff like that. And I think just on social media, it's really, really easy to attack people and say what you want and not have to, like I said, face any consequences. So it's good that you're able to kind of put that aside and not let it stop you from doing what you like to do.
Yeah. And there's different tiers to it. Like, it's one thing if you disagree with me, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to disagree with me. But you also I feel like I need to put up a wall where you can disagree with me, but you still need to respect me. And I'm not saying you have to, I'm like looking down on anybody or anything like that. But the way some people talk to me, it's just like I'm a person, like I might just be this like account that you like to fight with online, but there's a person behind it. And I mean, I say this all the time, like back in the day when I was younger, when social media was not the way it is now, like I don't think I would have been able to handle it. I totally understand why kids get so upset about like cyberbullying and online bullying. And I'm an adult, so I couldn't even imagine what would be going through my head if I was like in middle school or something.
Right. And like my opinion is why are you wasting your time attacking other people online when you could be doing something to improve your life or doing something positive? It's just like it's a waste of time. Like you should be doing something proper. You should be either working, you should be hanging out with your family, your friends, like doing something positive.
Exactly. 100% agree.
Yeah, and now going more, like I said, on that note, a positive side. What's some of the most exciting things about being able to be a blogger slash analyst?
What I like the most about what I'm doing right now is I've been in situations before where, um, and this I kind of feel like goes for most of the major outlets, is you can work for somebody and you can talk sports, but you're always going to be told, "Oh, don't say that," or you're always going to be told, "That's too mean, like you can't say that." So what I'm doing now, like I'm saying whatever I want, and and
Yeah.
I just that's the best part of it for me.
Yeah, and I noticed you have your own website as well. So I kind of wanted to ask you, what are some social media marketing strategies that have helped you become successful? And how do you think, with COVID-19, how do you think these strategies are going to work over the next few years as more and more people become engaged on social media?
Um, the most successful thing for me is just being myself. I feel like a lot of people who want to break into this business, and again, going back to like the whole like bullying thing, are afraid that people are going to disagree with them or are afraid that people are going to be mean to them, so they don't really say what they think. I'm not I'm not afraid of that, so I'll always say what I think. And I feel like you have to, if you want to get in a job like this, everything has to be authentic. Everything comes from me. I don't hire an I don't hire an intern to answer my DMs for me. I don't hire a ghostwriter to write for me. Like everything comes from me. And while at the end of the day it might not be perfect, there might be a typo, like that's fine with me if it's just coming from me. Um,
Yeah.
and I feel like with the second question, I feel like a lot of people are looking nowadays for other outlets. Obviously, especially if you want to be um, staying home and everything like that, a lot of people are looking for remote work and looking to be an influencer and things like that. But it's also like you have to realize that doesn't just happen overnight. It took me years to be able to do this, and I don't know, you can't just buy followers and be successful overnight. You have to have engagements, you have to have impressions, you have to, you know, have that sort of thing to back you up. It just doesn't happen at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, and I think that goes back kind of exactly what you said on being yourself. Because if you have someone else doing it for you, I mean, your message is going to change from person to person. And I think once you're yourself and you're putting yourself out there and sharing exactly what you want to say and not what anyone else tells you to do, I think that's when you start getting more engagement, getting more people to talk about you and kind of see your personality beyond just a simple tweet or a simple Instagram post.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, what are your ultimate goals for your brand overall?
Um, I don't know. I'm kind of like with COVID-19 and everything, like I had earlier before this started, I had like plans to do merch and like that sort of thing. And that was kind of like put on hold once the COVID-19 happened.
For sure.
Um, but I kind of want to go that route. Again, I'm not really sure when that's going to happen because I don't know when this is going to to end really. Um, and I don't know. I've been doing a lot more. I have a Patreon page also, which I do a lot more like video content. It's more of like a YouTube channel kind of thing. So I've been doing more of that now that I've had a little bit, more time where most of my actual like brand meetings and stuff are at home and I'm not having to run out and go to them. Um, so yeah, I'm just kind of trying to see like what's going to happen with all of this, and like this year, this football season's kind of different for me because I'm obviously not going to any games or anything like that. Wasn't able to go to any camps, so um, I actually just applied for Super Bowl media. Um, but I'm not sure they're letting like so few people in this year with COVID-19, so I don't even know what's going to happen with that.
Right.
So we're just kind of, I'm just trying to see what goes on, what happens, and just trying to roll with it.
Yeah, kind of a go with the flow type thing right now. Now, lastly, I want to ask, what messages do you have for other females that are trying to work into sports, trying to break into the industry and make their name in kind of a male dominated entire industry, really?
Um, so I have like mixed feelings on this question.
Okay.
Normally, when people ask me like, "What is your advice to get into sports?"
Yeah.
Normally I say, "Don't do it," just
Oh,
because and I feel like that's bad to say because it like discourages people, but that's not the message I'm trying to get across. It's more like you have to really want it. You have to be able to make sacrifices, and it goes from everything from your social life suffers, and you might have to work Thanksgiving. You might not have to be able to have Thanksgiving with your family, like things like that. Um, and I mean, the thing with being in the NFL like I'm that person that has, if I'm out to dinner, my phone's on the table, because what if something breaks? Like I have to, you know, be there,
Exactly.
comment on it. I have to be there to do something. And a lot of people, like I've dated guys, for example, that didn't like that. And I'm just, see ya. I don't like, I don't have time to, put you first at this point in my life.
Yeah, and I want to interrupt you there because I think that's a big one. I never actually heard that message because I think I've heard the whole, you have to make sacrifices, but kind of the real life examples of just, having a boyfriend and and your phone and being there all the time because it's your job. That's a good message. I like that one.
Yeah, and I mean, it even goes to like I said, like missing Thanksgiving. Like I've had to miss like family Christmases before because the Ravens played on Christmas, or things like that.
Right, right.
So, and it's also like, I don't know, you just have to you have to be able to make sacrifices. You have to really want it. And another thing I would say is to not be afraid to be yourself. Going back to everything, like you don't want to have the same lazy take that everybody else has. Like you have to put something else on it. You have to have a personality that's going to show through what you're trying to put out there. Because at any given day, if Le'Veon Bell signs with the Chiefs, for example,
Yep.
100 people are going to tweet Le'Veon Bell signed with the Chiefs. You need to have something different. You need to say, oh, haha, now he gets to play with an actual quarterback, or you know what I mean? Like
For sure, yeah.
you have to put like something else on it to where people are going to be able to respond to it, but you're still getting the news out there.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You see it everywhere. I mean, you see when he did sign, I've seen it probably 150 times, just the same thing, just a different style graphic.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's kind of really all I wanted to ask you. I guess the last thing I want to just slip in is Baltimore going to win the Super Bowl this year?
As of right now, I'm going to say no. um, I would like to see them win it, but I mean, going off of the past 2 years, like they've been in the playoffs and choked. And
Yeah.
I mean, they've been winning games right now, but they're not playing very well, and they're playing these horrible teams. And something happened to them when they played Kansas City. They haven't looked the same since then. And if it was 1 week where they looked kind of lazy against the Washington football team or whatever, then I would, brush it off. But it's been a pattern, and it's been about 3 weeks now, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing. So they have the bye week this week to kind of get things together, but I'm kind of nervous for them. I think the Chiefs are still the team to beat in the AFC at this point, and then I think the Steelers are really looking good this year. So I think they have some divisional competition there.
And what about the Raiders?
Are you a Raiders fan?
I'm not a Raiders fan,
No.
but I was cheering for them over the Chiefs, so
Oh, okay. I think they're one of those teams where you're not really sure what you're going to get every single week.
yeah, definitely.
It's okay for it being like week 6, week 7, but I mean, come the next 2 or 3 weeks, like we're going to have to know who you are, or, how are we going to be either confident or not confident in you? So they have kind of some work to do, I think, but we're kind of in that middle ground. I always say like November is my favorite month for football because that's kind of when you really see what teams are made of. Like you could be winning games, but like the Ravens, you might not have that much under you to be able to go far in the playoffs. So in November, I think we'll kind of see where a lot of teams stand.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I just want to say thank you for being so transparent and open and honest about your kind of career so far and where your career is going. And I look forward to kind of following you and seeing where you go, seeing the merch hopefully one day, and just kind of seeing how the season plays out.
All right, for sure. Thank you for having me.
And that wraps up this episode of Sports Biz with Rashad. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed, be sure to check us out on Instagram at SportsBiz with Rashad and support us on all other platforms. I'll catch you guys on the next episode.